Aloha, everyone. This is another Freedom to Feel conversation, and my guest today is Roxanna Draddy. She is a life coach, mentor, founder of the Freedom Coaching Company, and creator of the Worthy, Whole, and Abundant Method. Roxanna supports heart centered women, young adults, and fellow coaches, therapists, and healers in moving beyond survival mode and the pressure to perform so they can create lives rooted in worth, resilience, and authentic leadership. Oh, I love that. That really fits perfectly. It's in alignment with this idea that it's very close to my heart of being in the moment and spontaneous and not trying to perform. This whole thing about performing or
Yeah.
being something that it's not really natural. I guess I follow very much that the flow of nature being natural. There's something
Uh-huh.
about that really calls me over and over and over again. So, but this is my introduction to you that I just read. How would you introduce yourself, Roxana? Who are you in this very moment?
Who am I in this very moment? Well, I'm a woman, embodied as woman. As a woman, I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I'm a sister, um, and I'm a mentor and a life coach for women who most of my clients who come to me are somewhat done living in a mode of coping and pressure and survival and stress, and they want to really know what's beyond that. What is there more for them to follow, to integrate, to discover, and really find their true selves. So yeah, I'm a spiritual seeker, and I love the truth. It's been my path. And I'm also, I forgot to say, I'm also a doggy mom. So,
Oh, me
so
too. Hmm. Hmm.
yeah, our
Oh,
precious pets, right? They're wonderful.
yes.
Yeah.
I love them. I love my boys, and yeah, isn't it funny? Like you just mentioned that. I feel like it's almost like falling in love again. There's something magical about being in contact with a mind that's not judgmental, right? That's in a way it's grounded in the moment. It's very embodied. The animals, nature in general. Not to say that animals don't fear, because they do, right? They're sometimes very alert, and they do have the fear, the feeling coming through them. But there's something about them that I just kind of melt, and I find myself like being like a child. Isn't it funny? I mean, childlike,
Yeah.
kind of rolling on the
Yes. Well, that's
floor,
a
and
beautiful quality. That's a beautiful quality that you have, that you can be present like that with yourself and with others, and that you're not
yes.
defended, right?
Oh my God. Yes, Roxana. There's something about that really, I have to say, that makes me sad when, having conversations with some people. And that's why I started the podcast, because I couldn't have these conversations with my friends or family members or my own husband. It was really a challenge. So I said, wait a
Hmm.
minute. Yeah, it would make me sad. I would feel like lonely. Wait a minute. Why can't I talk to you about anything? No,
Mm-hmm.
some
Mm-hmm.
things, it's almost like humans have learned to create this is a shield, isn't it, of protection, and
Yeah.
they are always very much defensive. Not all humans, of course, but some of them, and they can become very aggressive, and it's quite sad. The feeling that comes up is always sadness for me, because it's almost like a
Yeah.
disconnection, trying to connect, but I can't. Yeah.
Well, I honor that place in you that is coming up right now, because it is what, once we realize that we are we can bring the nervous system into this conversation, right? We grew
Mm,
up in an environment that, um, not to blame anyone, but it lacked a
right,
certain kind of support, right? A
right.
support for our nervous system, for our bodies, for our emotional well-being and mental
Mm,
growth. So what happens is, as we grow up and we deal with those shortcomings, it's too painful to
yes.
really allow ourselves to feel them. So we create shields. We have defended parts in ourselves where we can't really bring into conversations because we have learned to kind of put them away and suppress them, or
Right.
like
Right.
they're hiding or they're in exile in
Right.
severe circumstances, and they're not really allowed to be fully here. So that's
Mhm.
that's something that I do with my clients to really help them come into their voice, come into their bodies, come into their self, their true self, because the conditioning is obviously a big part of it, right? Is like, oh, don't be too much, don't say, don't be too loud. Women go through many stages where they're,
Oh,
from maybe little, but teenage years, and then growing up, it's like, oh, can I be fully myself? And how does that even feel like in my body? How do I feel
mm,
when I do have my voice, when I have
mm.
I'm connected with my body, right? To be who I
Right.
am.
Right. 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 What does it feel like for you? Like when you talk about the concept of the authentic self and being fully embodied, what does it feel like? What does it look like? Does it look in a certain way? Does it have to be? I mean, is I would love to know, to have a description, if you could, of course, describe what that is like.
Sure. I think it's a process. I want to highlight that it's a process of coming into our body. But I've been on this path for, I would say, last 20 years, and it's been a big process of really welcoming
Mm, yeah.
whatever experience I have. Right. For a moment, you experience sadness. Right. I would
Mm,
unpack that. I would bring you into your own heart because your heart is speaking to you, right? That sadness is precious.
yeah.
And
Mm,
continuing to really feel into the body, feel into the emotions, feel into the identities that have been created,
mm,
right? That have been created
yeah.
in connection with these emotions, and letting them go. And once we let these identities go, these parts of us go, then we find, oh, that wasn't me. I wasn't. Well,
Mm,
that was an idea that I had about myself, that I wasn't
right.
worthy enough of
Right.
whatever, right? I wasn't worthy enough of a healthy relationship, or a great job, or friendship, or and those
Yeah.
ideas can be really deep. They can be nestled in us very deeply, and by letting them go one by one and really connecting with the body, with your own heart, you start recognizing that, first of all, you're here, and all of that was temporary. So you were in some kind of a
Right.
delusion with yourself.
Mm,
And then the beautiful part of it is that you realize that you have access, and
yeah.
that access is, I think, the magic that happens. You have
Mm,
access to
mm,
your intelligence in a deeper way. You have access to your own
mm,
heart in a deeper way, and you have
yeah.
access in to your own body, and that
Yeah.
feels like your nervous system can settle down. You can
Mm,
feel more at ease with yourself. um, you can invite more joy and more
mm,
learning, more growth, more
yeah.
connections,
Yes.
opportunities. Because once
Yes.
we're in that defended, right, the
Mm,
defended identity that we've been carrying on with us, when we're in that defended identity, then it's really hard to imagine something different, something
yes.
fuller, something richer, right? That's
True.
why we need everyone, all of us need a mentor, a teacher, a life coach, a therapist, someone that can connect with us on that level and guide us through the next, like, oh, what else is there for you? Does
Yes.
that answer your question?
It does. Yeah, it resonates. Yes, a lot of that resonates. True. Yes. At one level, it's the sadness I feel a lot of times when I see, for example, witness injustice, especially against animals or children, or nature, somebody throwing something, trash. Oh, that just gets me
We-
upset, and then I get sad after, like upset, sad.
yeah.
But then Yeah, I'm a student of Vedanta, Advaita Vedanta, which is a non-dual perspective of reality. So it's has been incredibly helpful when it comes to the dealing with the dualistic part of life, because
Hmm.
non-dual Vedanta doesn't deny the duality. So of course, we are. This is it's not an illusion, but it can become the experience of that we are having right now. It can very much become diluted. So illusion is one thing, delusion is another thing. So
Hmm.
illusion is what we are experiencing now. That you are there, I'm here, and we are separate beings, which are not. Everything it comes from one essence. So there's nothing that's separate. So that's the illusion. So the illusion can be playful, you know. We can play with that. Why not? That's how we dance, and then we just kind of have fun while we are here, while it lasts. You know, there's
Right.
not 100% real as real that's as real as it lasts. I have heard it that way, and I really like that. This is as so. When it comes to that, Roxana, I learned to feelings. I learned to feel them and just let
Yes.
them. Yeah, of course, like you said beautifully, kind of go with them, but in a sense of understanding, let them to express themselves without trying to block or having them as a protection. Sometimes it comes up to, especially somebody like me, that went through a lot of trauma. So I see the body sometimes, does things, and the mind, of course.
Hmm.
But then I learned to, because of Vedanta is really helpful, kind of make that, wait a minute, that's not me. It's me that's identified with duality, with the finite. I'm not finite. I'm not I'm limitless. So I'm just kind of identified with this experience in this moment, and that's okay. So a
Yeah.
lot of times I say it's okay too, because I don't want to fight, duality. I think the more we fight anything, it becomes more real in essence.
Right, right. It's really important to just kind of allow it, but we have also learned. I mean, I work with a lot of women, and we've learned that emotions are not great, right? You can be happy, you
Yeah.
can show a little
Mm,
bit joy, and you can
yeah.
show your confidence, but can you really deeply feel yourself in your sadness and
Mm,
in your right
mm.
in any emotion really? So welcoming
Yeah.
that, having a certain holding for it inside, I
Mm.
think it really helps to move yourself into the next, because it really is an unfolding, right? We are in this
Yes.
present moment, we are feeling,
Oh, yeah.
let's say, sadness or a joy or an emotion, and then it turns into something else. We're
Yeah.
always evolving and always fresh in this moment. So
Mm,
once we
mm.
identify what we're associating this moment with, we can let it go. But it does
Yeah.
take a certain skill, right? It does take
It does.
it does, yeah. Yeah, otherwise
Mm.
we don't quite know what's happening. It's just
Yes.
happening, but we don't know what's happening. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Don't really know what
Yeah.
this is. Oh, I love that. And even the idea, yeah, knowing. So who knows what? That to me is like, when you start knowing yourself, the true you, that's unlimited, that's infinite, that we call the
Hmm.
soul, but I think it's not really. Well, according to Vedanta, it's not really, we are just the infinite, not localized. So we are consciousness itself. So consciousness knowing itself. Oh, I am unlimited. Yeah, how silly have I
Hmm.
been? But that's the personality, of course, using words to describe it, but cannot be
Yeah.
described anyway, because it's everywhere. But it has been very helpful, though, I have to say. For me,
Yeah.
it has been very helpful, especially we had the trauma, because I could not trust my own intuition at some point. I couldn't trust my body.
Yes.
I couldn't.
Yes, that
Because it's
happens with
so,
trauma, right? Because this is a
yeah.
yes, this is a it kind of, it depends what kind of trauma it is. I've worked with a lot of trauma myself. And I work with my clients. I have that holding for them, because once that happens, there is a freeze in the identity. There's like sometimes we
Oh, yeah.
people are, we're stuck in those old identities, and it's still
Yes.
recurring in some part of us. And being
Yes.
able to go there and find out what happened, and finding the holding, the love, the kindness, the understanding that we
Mm,
need to really
yeah.
disidentify with that, with those
Right. Right.
traumatic events is really, really important. Yeah, I'm
I
glad that
know.
you were able to find the support that you needed.
Right. What
Yeah.
is your story? What is your story, Roxana? I have the outline here that caught my attention too. I think I read it, but this is a reschedule. So I remember like it was very
Yeah.
fresh in that moment, the memory. Now I have my notes here.
Yeah.
So
Uh-huh.
the breakdown that became my breakthrough. Can you talk to me about that?
Yeah, so my story is like I was born in Iran, and as you know, it's
Oh,
quite
yeah.
a lived under very hard conditions for women, and still is the case. And what
Yes.
happened was I traveled at 13 with my parents to Amsterdam, the Netherlands, which is
Yeah.
obviously the opposite, you could say, of Iran in terms of
Yes.
freedom and morals and ethics. So I
Right.
arrived there, and after a few weeks, I did not feel like I could go back because
Mm.
this whole new reality had opened up for me, and
Oh,
I was seeing how it could be done differently, right? As a
right.
woman, I went through like a lot of, I mean, a young girl, there was a lot of
Yeah.
suppression and repression in terms of my rights and how I should dress and what, there was a lot of that, like,
Yeah.
and covering myself. And once I was in Amsterdam, I was like, okay, I can't go back. So I ran away. I ran away to stay. And so that kind of, I think that was a sort of an initiation for me
Yeah.
because I ran away and had to deal with this journey of hardship, and I didn't have my parents, and I got to stay in Amsterdam and live there, but there was a lot of hardship and resiliency that had to be developed in me to be able to
Mm.
continue that path. And so I continued being on that path till I was 28. And at 28, I had a spiritual awakening, which
Mm.
is what is holding and guiding my own intuition and what I do with
Mm.
women that I
Mm.
help, right?
Yeah.
Support and help.
Yeah.
So
Oh, I love that.
that's the story behind it. Yes.
Yeah, and spiritual awakening. Yeah, that's a term that we use for basically getting to know ourselves, isn't it, Roxana? The real us, the depth of what we are beyond who we that.
We all have spiritual awakenings all the time, but
Mm.
we're
Right.
either not aware of it, and when we are aware of it is probably for a minute, maybe a 5 minute
Mhm.
here and maybe 2 minutes there.
Yes.
I had it for
Mhm.
2 months. So for me, it was
Oh,
2 months, and it was a long period, extended time to be in that. Um, I would say, yeah, like total expansion and
mm,
the um, the deep, profound love that I felt inside. And I
yeah.
wasn't, my personality, I don't know what happened to it, it was gone. So I was totally into this place of knowing things and being connected with my wisdom. And I was lucky because one of my family members was visiting me that summer. So as I was speaking, what I was feeling and experiencing, she was telling me that this is what Rumi says. I had no idea what was happening. I just was
Mhm.
in the flow, in the river of myself, and in the
Right.
and
Right. Mm.
she was holding that space for me as I was experiencing that. Yeah.
Beautiful. Oh, wow. Yeah. That's so important to have somebody that understands what's happening. So they are
Yes.
giving us support in that moment. That's just beautiful. So
Yeah.
when it comes to that, is that because that's what I heard too, and that makes sense that it's easy to wake up, but it's not easy to stay awake. That's really,
That's right.
and
That's a good way.
I don't think we can force that process, right, Roxana? We cannot force it. Some people they try, even changing the way they look and the clothes and the food. They try so hard to stay spiritual, And then
Yeah.
they're forcing something, and I don't think we can force anything like that to happen or to be
Um,
maintained.
no, I can tell you what came about. There were a couple of circumstances that was happening in my life at the time, and I think it comes from really a deep longing. It comes
Mm,
from the deepest longing that you have in your heart. Because when that happened,
yeah.
when those circumstances happened for me, I felt so heartbroken, and
Mm,
I felt so disappointed in life. And I was not religious. I was not spiritual at all. I mean, none of it
yeah.
made sense to me at the time. But I
Yeah.
had a moment with God, and I asked God. I said, if you are true, I only want the truth from now on. I
Mm,
am done. And
mm, mm,
so it was a conversation, but it came from a deep longing of wanting to know the truth, because I felt like I was done with what I felt at the time, betrayal, what it felt
right.
as betrayal. And from
Right.
that deep longing in my heart, I asked for the truth, and I said, I want to experience this, but so you know, I don't believe in you. And the only way I will know that you're true, I only need miracles. Show me miracles so I know you're
Mm,
true.
mm,
And
mm.
to be honest, that has been my life since then.
Wow.
It, yes, it's been
Miracles.
a journey of miracles. And you know, they
Mm.
always say, be careful what you ask for, right?
Yes. Oh, yes. Yes.
So
Tell me
I
about
want to
it.
also, yes.
Yes.
So, yeah, so that's part of it.
Wow. I
But,
love
but
that. I
mm,
love that. That means there's this level of surrender of the constructed self, in a sense, the separate self, the part of us that believe that we are separate. They call the ego, but it's basically I call like separate wholeness, because it's still part of it still is divine. There's
yeah,
nothing that's not divine. Everything is sacred. But when it comes to suffering, though, and that's I really love what you're doing. That's why I love this work that have been doing with the podcast and the marketing of having these messages out there, because
yes.
I see that the main purpose is to lessen suffering, kind of
Hmm.
soften, this edge. There are so many people that believe in so many things and have lost contact with who they are, what they are, not even who, but
Yeah.
what. And then I love the fact that you asked for truth, and that's something that I have done too, and I still do it. That's my main thing. At some point, I kind of drop everything, all the concepts, and
Yes.
I just stay in whatever is in the moment, whatever life it's happening. So that's
Hmm.
in a way, whatever you're giving it to me, that's what I'm supposed to engage with. That's what I'm supposed to
Yes.
dance with. So I kind of
Yeah.
trust that. But as truth. But when it comes to, have you found any ultimate truth with the capital T, something that has become your ground, the ground of your existing self?
Uh, let's see. How I found I think the intention of wanting to be in truth with oneself
Mm,
is really
mm,
the most important thing, and
right.
being having the willingness to look at what is coming up, because a lot of times, there's moments that we kind of feel something, but then we're like, no, right? It's
Mm,
like,
yeah.
so to be
Yeah.
be open to the flow of what's being given, because that's also a
Yeah.
gift, right? And every experience that we're having in our lives, right, from
Mm,
0 to 100, let's say we
mm,
live, every moment of experience is a gift. And
mm,
once we open, like, this moment is precious.
yeah.
You and I are in this conversation about divine, about
Mm,
authenticity, about truth, about love,
yes. Yeah.
and we're both two seekers, right? So it's a precious moment, and this moment is, it's been gifted, and to be open to that. And it's obviously more. more, it's much easier to to be open to beautiful things, but life
Yeah.
gives us challenges, right?
Right.
To open up those parts that have lived in the shadow, right? Or they are in the shadow, to bring that forth to the light, and
Right.
exploring that and inquiring into those parts also brings more light and authenticity in our lives.
Right. And it does.
So
Yeah. That's
that's,
one of the
yeah.
most. Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, so I feel like by doing that, we deepen the trust. This has been my path of really deepening the trust in what is showing up in my experience
Right.
and what's reality is showing me at this moment, because they're
Mm.
both a mirror of one another, right?
Mm.
It,
Yes.
and
Yes.
to allow that to come in, to look at it, to explore it, and to be with it in ways that, sometimes, I mean, when I was in that first 10 years of my awakening, that was a lot of processing, because
Mm. Yeah.
there was many parts of me that had been suppressed and casted
Mm.
into the shadows, and I had no
Mm.
idea. So
Mm.
they all came up, they all needed to be seen, and
Right.
yeah, that was
Right.
important to do. And the truth that
Mm.
I connect with is a a certain guidance. I want to
Mm.
say a certain guidance in myself, that shows me, or I want to say, um, connects me with my truth, like
Mm.
the love that is inside,
Right.
or the
Right.
truth, allows the truth to be more here and more here and more
Mm.
here. And what it
Mm.
does, I mean, um, you can speak to it from your perspective, but I feel like once we're on that path and we start understanding what is our truth,
Mm.
and then
Yeah.
things start dropping, right? Things
Yeah.
clarify, our
Yeah.
relationships clarify, brings more
Yeah.
understanding in our life. We feel more grounded. We're more aware. We pick up things more faster, and right, what we
Right.
need, what's going on, because there's a certain clarity that comes in once we connect with that.
Right. That's very much true. They call it intuition, right? Like Roxanne, it always speaks the truth, and it's very straightforward, and it's not take it or leave it in a way. And a lot of times we,
Yeah.
yeah, we don't, and then we get ourselves in trouble. Well, when it comes to that, that's a kind of something that I always search for my entire life. Truth, yeah. What's truth with capital T? And because I had experienced a lot of suffering at the level of the mind
Hmm.
and body, then and collectively too, like I didn't have the love from my parents. I didn't feel loved by them. Quite the opposite. And then I just was in the world, kind of looking through the lens of almost like a that neededness and the need to be loved, to be seen, all
Of
those parts that
course.
you speak of. So it was
Yeah.
really sad to kind of the whole experience. So my main thing was like truth. So what is this thing all about? This whole thing called life, what I'm experiencing now. It doesn't feel good. So what is it? And then I have studied, for me, it was like the path of education, a sense of knowledge. So it's a very intellectual thing. So I was really interested in learning everything that I could, um, that I possibly could put my mind, around, and I did. So Zen Buddhism, Tibetan Buddhism, Christianity, even Islam with Sufism, I really like that sector. And then, well, it's about
Hmm.
love, so that really resonated. But then Vedanta kind of opened up this whole new window to reality. Wait a minute,
Hmm.
and it resonated. That makes sense. So it made sense to my entire being. So when you
Yes.
speak of being guided and trust and what is in the moment, yes, there's a lot of truth to that. It's so true, and also the gift. That's funny because I always kind of never really I never really seen this as a gift. Maybe because of suffering. I went through so much
Mm-hmm.
suffering that no, this is not a gift. It cannot be a gift, this life.
Mm-hmm.
And then now I understand that's not really, I mean, you could interpret it that way, that it's a gift in a sense of gratitude for being, not being in a painful situation right now. I have no physical problems and I feel very joyful pretty much every day. And I do something that I really love to do that has not, is not just with my own, has not, is not connected to my own inner desire or the individual egotistical desire of doing this,
Hmm.
but is there's something like that resonates at that level, that if I'm doing something that could touch your heart and then the community, my family, and then humanity as a whole, if this can be useful and helpful somehow, then that means it's not just for an egotistical or self-centered kind of purpose. That really, to me, that's one of the truth. If you do something that you're putting yourself out there, but you
Hmm.
kind of not really attached to outcomes, you're not expecting, and then without agenda, all you want really is for other people not to suffer as much as they do. You know, and that's how I feel, and
Hmm.
it kind of saddens me every time I'm not in contact with television, so I don't know what's going on in the world in the sense of all those things. But I know there's a lot of
Hmm.
suffering still out there. So when it comes to
Yes.
that truth, it's really cause and effect, though. Like we are experiencing this now because something happened. We did something, in a sense, to deserve it. So it's almost like
Hmm.
we plant the seeds, and then that's what we have, the fruits that we have. So when it comes to nature, the reality of duality, it's all about cause and effect. That Vedanta explains that in a very beautiful way, but it's the only way that we can really make sense of this madness of humans hurting one another and all these things here. It's cause and effect. Yeah.
Cause and effect.
Yeah.
Um, I believe in that, and I think being in integrity with oneself, you
Mm,
automatically,
mm,
if there is such a
yes.
way, to outsmart reality.
Yeah.
When you
Yeah.
are in integrity with yourself, then you have outsmart the algorithm of reality, right?
Right.
Because
That's it.
you're holding that truth in yourself in what you're doing. And I think the suffering part that
Uh,
you're talking about, for me, what I've discovered all
yeah.
these years is that we all experience pain. We have, I mean, we have emotional pain, we have physical pain, we have mental pain. We experience pain, but suffering is actually an act of doing.
Mm, yes.
And and
Yes.
so being
Yes.
on this path, being one that is in integrity with oneself and is wanting to know the truth and developing capacities to hold that in oneself, because it's not easy, right? I mean, I was in truth for 2 months and it blew up my life, right? I was never the same person ever again. It's, our nervous system is not developed to be in integrity and to be in truth, so we have to really
Right.
um, not that it's not, it's like it's a continuum, but it's really a continuum of developing that more and more to be able to hold that truth inside, to be in integrity with one's heart, so that suffering is because we identify with our ego. Right? Otherwise, it's pain, and pain is not fun. I do not want anyone to be in pain, but suffering is a doing. People suffer for years, sometimes for decades, for and for something, for there's a lot of, like in relationships, definitely this comes up. And once you can look at that and understand the cause and understand your own truth in that relationship, the suffering lessens. And then there's pain and you feel it and then you can let go.
Mm,
That,
yeah. Yeah. That's
yeah.
it. Oh, I love that. Yeah. Yeah. That's it. Because it's because the body and the mind, they belong to nature. So they are under the law of cause and effect, right? In that sense. So yeah, you drink, you eat something that's not good for the body, it will. respond. The body
Yes.
will respond. And you see a lot of spiritual teachers, realized ones, they're so-called enlightened. And I'm not just so-called, I'm sorry to say it that way even, they were truly already in that place of knowing the true self,
Hmm.
the real them. But they still suffered. They had cancer, the level of the body. It was painful. And they would say that,
Yeah.
it's painful. Oh my God, it's so
Yeah.
painful. They are not in denial of pain, of the physical pain. They understood, obviously, they're high, very wise, because the body and the mind, they belong to nature. So it's not something that we can control.
Hmm.
I think
Well,
we
The
can
Body
only,
Never Lies. I think that's a really good book that says The Body Never Lies, with Gabor Mate, I think. Dr. Gabor Mate
oh yeah.
wrote that. And it's really, sometimes we're so associated with our mind, and we go somewhere, and then we feel a
Mm,
certain, pressure or a certain thing, and then when we look at our bodies speaking to us, and we need to pay attention. We need to learn how to pay
yes,
attention. We need to know how to
yes.
love it and how to be
Mm,
curious about it and see what our experience
mm,
is, because it's really about getting to know ourselves in a deeper way, understanding
right.
who we are, and allowing that truth to come forth.
Yes.
Yeah.
How do you feel about like now it has been very different for me. It kind of changed in a way, but my body used to be, I guess it still is, obviously, the almost like it's almost like some, the crystals that we use as a pendulum, yeah, a
Hmm.
pendulum to kind of yeah. So I kind of rely on my body to tell me. Some people, they
Hmm.
rely on like crystals and all those things. Yeah, I do have one. Somebody sent it to me, like, oh, you should have that. But I rely on my body.
Yeah.
So what do you do when you feel like in your gut, the body doesn't feel well around certain people, and you have like a belly ache, a headache. So what yeah, what do you do like in those cases? What's happening actually there?
Well, it could be, we can look at it on many different layers. So first of all, it's, I when I work with my clients, I think learning, developing active listening to oneself is really important, right?
Yeah.
To honor that boundary, like, what you were saying, I feel angry earlier on, you were talking about it, like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, that's telling you something, right? So when the body is sending you signals about, I feel pressure, I feel this, or I feel that, whatever it is to at that moment respond to it and honor that. That's the first step,
Mm,
because it has
mm,
to come from love. The first remedy is love. The ultimate
yes.
remedy is love.
I
So it
agree.
has to it has to
Yeah.
come from love. There's So
Yeah.
holding yourself in that moment with love and with attention, and with listening, tuning in into yourself, is the first
Right.
step. And then looking at, okay, what is actually going on for me on an emotional level? Because that's the physical level, right? The
Mm,
somatic level is showing like,
yeah.
oh, I'm contracting. So there's a sense of protection coming in. So, okay, what do I
Mm,
feel emotionally? What is going on here? For me, I'm like, oh, do I feel fear? Do I
yeah.
feel, what is it that I'm feeling? And being curious, I think one of the things, I belong to a spiritual path that is called the Diamond Approach. And I found the Diamond Approach in Berkeley, California, and it's been part of my path. And it's profound, it's deep, and it's wonderful. And
Oh,
the founder of Diamond Approach talks about the inquiry. And there's a technique, if you may call it that, it's a method that they use, is
mm,
to simply be in the present moment with
right.
yourself and learn how to tap to all these layers. So I think
Right.
I use that in my work sometimes as well. So, okay, what is it? What's going on for you emotionally that you feel this way? And
Right.
tapping into emotion, because sometimes, and I would say 98% of the time, the emotions that we feel they're a message. They're
Mm,
telling us something about
yeah.
this situation, right?
Yes.
So we might feel fear, but then you don't stop there, because that fear might be a projection.
Mm, Yeah.
right? And that projection needs to also be looked at. Oh, am I projecting this fear from an earlier relationship that I'm carrying with
Mm,
myself? So
mm,
there are layers and layers into and understanding one experience.
right. So
And
true.
it's profound. So because when we find what we're projecting, and
Yeah.
most of the time we are, and to understand that truth and
Mm,
release that object relation and release what we're carrying inside, that
yeah.
allows us to rest in that
Yeah.
deeper authenticity, that deeper sense of self. And then
Mm,
tomorrow is another day, next week is another
mm.
party, and then
Yeah.
it will happen again, but then the station keeps growing that you can rest
Uh-huh.
inside, right? Sometimes it's
Yeah.
like when I first started, it was just
Mm,
I could just put my little toe on a platform that I could stand on, and now that station has grown into a bigger one that I can just
yeah.
rest and be, right?
Yes.
That's the platform of truth and the ground of being that I have found inside myself and that I
Mm,
offer to my clients.
yes. I love that, Roxana. So you also serve as a transmission, right? Because you're passing that on energetically too. That's what it feels like.
Absolutely.
Like listening to you, that's what it. Even the words like feels like transmission. Like passing this on.
Thank you
Yeah,
for saying that.
it used to
Yes.
happen because the trauma's right. It's a projection. I remember that the people who had similar personalities of my mother or my father, they were very abusive. My mother was very abusive, and then yeah, then the body would just kind of yeah, the shield would just be there, and it would. In the form
Mhm.
emotionally, it would feel like a bellyache, a
Yeah,
headache, and I just wanted to stay away from them because, yes, something
absolutely. And that's very
Mm,
smart, right? That's a
right.
so
Um,
staying away or removing ourselves from the scene is a very brilliant move, right?
right.
It's very smart. But when you're an adult, you can't remove yourself from every situation, right? Because it
Mhm.
will come up
Yeah,
more and more because you want to actually
right,
open your life, you want to invite more
right,
opportunities in, and you
right.
start noticing like, oh, from 10 women that I meet, six of them I'm projecting my mom on, right? So it's like it
Oh,
becomes
no, yeah,
more.
not a
It's like
mm.
so we want
Well,
to we want to, and the other part that I think is really important to mention here is
mm,
that I also do in my work is the part work, right? So
yeah,
really taking care of and loving that little girl, for example, in your
mm,
situation, right?
mm,
What she
right,
went through, and
yes.
it sounds like she went through a hell
Oh, yeah,
time with her
she
mom,
did.
like that.
Yeah.
Yes, it sounds really, really, really difficult, and
Mm,
she didn't get the love and the holding that she needed.
right.
So therefore, right,
Mm,
things become scary, and doing part work is really important to learn how to mother ourselves. And I separated from my mother when I was 13, so and I
yeah,
didn't have a replacement for it, so I had a journey of finding mothers for myself, and most of the times it was a disappointment because no one is
yeah,
ready to to step into that role. But I needed that, and it became after my awakening I started realizing like, oh, I'm learning how to mother my own inner child and my own
yeah,
little girl.
yes. Yeah,
And that's also profound, that brings profound healing.
it does. That's exactly what I learned about 25 years ago or more. Yes, a psychotherapist said that to me because she felt
Beautiful.
it. I had a session and she said, "Oh, you need to become your own mother. You need to parent yourself." That's what she said. And then I
Yeah.
remember, yeah, immediately the subconscious it started to kind of follow those instructions, kind of listened to her. It was very
Hmm.
interesting to see that too. Yes,
Yeah,
and it's still
beautiful.
emotional as listening to you, and I still, something in me is almost like that little girl. She was like being recognized in the sense that
Mm.
yeah, so that's important to do. It's funny, like I have a breakfast that is almost like it's like oatmeal with some
Uh-huh.
protein powder that I put in there, and it feels like a baby food. And I always say, "Oh, that's for you," like for
Oh.
the little girl in me. She loves it. So when I don't
I
give
love
that to her, it's not the same. She's not like in a good mood.
that.
Isn't that funny? I mean, it's funny
Yeah.
as it sounds, but it's true. It's what's happening, and I learned kind of yeah. Those are the parts. How fascinating, right, Roxana, to
Those are
recognize
the
them.
parts. Yes, those are the parts. And it's fascinating to learn how to hold them and what the impact of that holding is. Because, right, if you have opened this dialogue with your little girl of like,
Oh
okay,
yeah.
I will make oatmeal for you, we'll do this, and there's a moment that you're spending with yourself
Mm,
that contains a lot of love and attention
yes. Yes.
towards her. And she probably
Yes.
missed. She needed that. And I think
Mm,
all of
yeah.
us, I mean, I've done it, years and years, and still here and there comes up, not that often anymore, but when it comes up, I'm fully there because I didn't, my mom had depression, and she didn't
Mm,
have the tools to know how to really mother, because
yeah.
mothering is actually an
Wow.
archetype, right? It's a deep,
Mm,
profound way that we hold our kids, and
mm,
we
mm,
learn that
mm,
from other women. We need to learn that,
yes.
how to mother, how to listen, how to hold boundaries, how to, all of that is, it's really
Mm,
important. And once we learn to do that for ourselves, it's really beautiful. I think it really helps our growth.
it does. Yeah. It really, really does.
Yeah.
Now, I just had to get used to it because I was very intellectual in a sense of getting the knowledge of what I was, and I'm not parts. I'm whole. So why am I addressing parts? It doesn't make any sense. But then I had to come to the understanding that the body and the mind, they're part of nature, and that I couldn't do the spiritual bypassing. I think I tried that because the
Yes.
suffering was so bad that I wanted to. Oh, I gotta get to the
Mhm.
stage of enlightenment, of limitless, and live there and stay there.
Mm.
And then it was funny trying
Yeah.
to bypass that. But now it's like more of the balance, that I call it a dance. It feels like a song, like a dance,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's so much more in harmony with life itself, and it becomes. I honor everything, the infinite, what we are, and then the finite too. I
Hmm.
learned to honor everything, not push anything away. Although sometimes my sadness, feels like that. And when I see the injustice, though, I don't like seeing justice. Like you spoke of truth. I'm very much about that. So when somebody lies to me, then it's so hard. Like, no,
Mm.
no, no,
Yeah.
no lies, please. And then I become
Yeah.
upset. But that's natural, isn't it, Roxana? Because almost like crossing that boundaries those are boundaries, I believe.
Well, I would say from what I'm getting to know you a little bit here is that you
Yeah.
walked a really hard path, right? To understand, you really have felt what it means to have pain, to suffer, and not have a sense of holding and be
Mm,
lied to in different ways. So it
yes.
makes sense to me that it shakes you to your core, because it's something that you cannot go back to anymore. You
Right.
need that integrity, you need
Mm,
that honesty
mm,
to flourish, to live life in a way that
mm.
feels good to you.
Yes, that's right.
That's right. Yeah, I feel it, because
Yeah,
I
very
feel that,
cute.
and I'm the same way. Actually, I'm the same way. I've invited a level of truth in my life,
Mm,
and that's what I'm committed to above
mm,
everything else. Like, yes, there are a lot of things in life that are temporary, and to be able to see that what's temporary and what's real, it allows
mm.
us to rest in a deeper place in ourselves. And I'm
Right.
committed to this path, and it's holding me and it's guiding me. So I'm here talking to you about it. So it's it's
Yes.
like it's what we need to do. And for me, it's bringing this level, let's say, whatever you want to call it, an awakening and an understanding,
Mm, mm,
and 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 integrating that with every other modality that I have learned in my, coaching practice and getting certified in different modalities. When I bring that, all the truth kind of fits, right? It's not
mm.
like, right, truth fits. It's like it makes the
Yeah,
whole picture more whole, and
right,
bring
right.
that to my clients and helping women
Mm,
to find their own inner strength, to find their own worthiness, because that's where a lot of women I've seen, like, and
yeah,
it was a question for myself, but I see that in other women as well. It's like, am I worthy of the life that I really want? How can I
yeah.
get there? Right?
Mm,
And then looking at the parts of, like, okay, what is in the way really for you to be your full glorious self?
mm, mm,
And
yeah,
looking at that, and inviting more abundance, because that's how I created this method, because it felt like all connected to one another. If you don't feel worthy, we can't really feel whole. We can't we something is lacking, and then when something is lacking, we can't open up to new possibilities. So it's just like, it's a vicious
true.
circle that we get stuck in.
It's so true. Yes, I love that actually the first word of your method is worthy, right? Worthy, whole, abundant. So true. And the abundance part, it's so interesting because that speaks for itself.
Hmm.
Like fear gets in the way because life is so abundant. We are limiting our own selves in a way, aren't we? It's coming from our own
Yes.
false belief systems and all that. To think that we are not worthy, we're not whole, and we're not abundant.
Yeah, it's
So
the conditioning, right? The conditioning that we went through in our lives of how that identity was formed in us. So,
right,
I work sometimes, it's people, abundance is usually associated with wealth, which is
right,
true. Abundant is also wealth, but sometimes for some of my clients, they already have the wealth, but they
mm,
need ease, they need
right,
rest, they need slowing down, and that can be abundant, right? It's
mm,
very different for every woman, because some women come in and they haven't really stepped into that worthiness, into that power yet, and then they
yeah,
want to create an abundant life in the in the wealth, a matter of wealth. And then some people come in, and some women come in, and they want to create more ease. And I think it's all
mm,
connected. Once we find our inner love, our worthiness, our
mm,
wholeness,
mm,
it opens the doors for us.
it does. Yeah, thank you for saying that too. That's very wise. Yeah, the grace. I thought about grace when you talk about
Yes.
ease. Yeah, yes, yeah. I also want to mention, we are almost at the end. I want to mention
Yeah.
your services. So your website is roxannadraddy.com. It will be clickable on the podcast, the end of the video, and podcast notes too. But you offer one-on-one coaching, young adult coaching, group coaching, coaches and therapists, mentorship for
Hmm.
coaches and therapists. And you offer 30-minute free consultation.
Hmm.
Did I miss anything, Roxanne? I'm reading here from my screen. Did I
No,
miss your?
I think the the core message here is, I sit with women, young women, and whatever
Yeah,
age. The age doesn't matter, and in whatever capacity they come, because I work with young coaches who want to start their coaching practice, or they want to understand their clients better. I work with them, but
right.
mostly really supporting women. That's my
Yeah,
that's my mission. Yes.
that's beautiful, though. That's really, really, really beautiful. We need it. It's very much we need all the help we can get at that
Yes.
level too. Yeah, I try not to push away. Sometimes I thought about doing that too, platform only for, but then there's a part of me that's very much connected to freedom too, so it doesn't
Mhm.
really. Um, not to create more separation, not to say that you are doing that. It's just as a preference, isn't it? It's a calling, isn't it,
Yeah,
Roxana? It's a calling.
I think it's, I mean,
Yeah,
I'm very connected with that calling, that I'm here
right.
to provide my own, the gifts of my own journey and everything that I've
Mhm.
learned, to women that say yes to the to this journey with me, because I'm very excited every time. It never gets old, because
Right.
I feel
Mm,
such a pleasure and
mm,
in seeing them and witnessing them grow and become
yes.
their, I mean, that's just like the best seat in the house, right? I'm front and I
Mm,
see them
mm,
every week or every other
mm,
week, and
mm.
every
Yeah.
session I bring everything I have, and it's
Mm,
just really about growth, and it's really coming into your body and coming into the life that you want to create. And
yeah.
yeah, every time it's just fantastic. I really enjoy doing it. Yeah, it's definitely my calling.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
makes sense. Yeah, I can hear in
Hmm.
your voice. That's what it feels like, a calling. Yeah, it feels very
Yeah.
fresh, and we have no doubts. That's another thing that I notice. We don't question that. It's something that I never question. This path that I am on, and the path that you are on, it
Yeah.
feels very much like, we don't doubt. We know it, right? In a sense, it's very embodied. Yeah. Beautiful.
Yes.
Thank you so much for your
Thank
beautiful
you.
presence. Thank you for the conversation, for being open to flow the way, wherever it went. And I know that whatever felt true to you, which your work is very much true to you. So I heard it, many times you brought that into the conversation because it feels very true to you. That's your mission here on this earth. So it's truly, truly beautiful. Thank you so much again for being you. Thank
Thank
you.
you, Valeria. It was wonderful to be with you.
Yeah, I
Thank you
feel
for
the
your
same
time.
way. Thank you.
All
I'll
right.
talk to you off record. Just end it for now for the record. Bye for now.
Okay.
Bye,
Bye
Roxana.
for now.